going. Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Mirikitani for USA Wrestling Match Day, presented by USA Wrestling, the national governing body for wrestling in the United States. By Nike Wrestling. Go to athleteps.com for all of your Nike and USA Wrestling branded gear. By the Hawkeye Wrestling Club and Executive Director Chad Beatty. And the best bar in downtown Iowa City, Joe's Place. We are here obviously to preview the 125-pound, or the Penn State Iowa duel. We're going to start at 125. Going to hand it off to my guy Grant Turner for his thoughts on the match.
Well, hopefully we start off at 125 pounds. We'll have Drew Hildebrant and Drake Ayala. It's going to be a top 12 bout between both these guys. Drake, being a true freshman this year, being able to step into the lineup after Spencer Lee goes down, having a great year so far, knocking off some, pretty highly seeded, returning All-Americans, and then, this is a big time for him wrestling inside Carver, number 1 versus number 2. Really looking forward to Ayala being the guy and having that big moment in Carver.
Mark Ostrander.
Yeah, I think what Drake has to do here is he's got to get to that lefty single that he does so well and get to his feet. He can't stay on the mat with Hildebrant. He's too talented on top. Cannot go underneath. If he goes underneath, he has to be able to get out. But overall, I think it's going to be a great match, and see where the chips lay.
I think the thing to really watch here is, can Ayala get, you said, like that lefty swing single with that throw-by combination? Hildebrant is fine with the match going 0-0 to start, right, guys? Because he can ride, he can get away.
Yep.
That's what he did against Suriano and kept it close. But Ayala, Fort Dodge kid, true freshman, stepping in for the dominant or second most dominant wrestler in the country, Spencer Lee, Gable Stevenson. And this is a huge opportunity for him. He wrestled really well at the Southern Scuffle, stepped right up, and made it happen. We're going to move on to 133. We're going to make our picks at the end here. But at 133, we've got RBY, Roman Bravo Young, the number 1 guy in the country, the defending national champion, against Austin DeSanto. And these guys have wrestled 5 times. DeSanto won the first 2. RBY's won the last 3. If you're sort of new to wrestling, you're going to probably see RBY wrestle with one arm behind his back. That's a very unique style, but he's trying to hide it from the fireman's carry that DeSanto is so good at. And if he can do that, he's found a way to get a takedown with one arm. He's found a way to win 3-2. There was one time where he got that cradle and ended up having an injury default match. But this is another key matchup. One of my favorite parts of this duel is I think 8 of the 10 matches are with guys that are ranked within 2 or 3 spots of each other. How do you see it, Mark?
Yeah, I think what Austin wants to do here is he wants to wrestle in a phone booth. He does not want to give RBY any space. He's got to stay close to him at all times. He's going to have to fight off RBY's shots, which he's done in the past. But you're talking, number 1 against number 3 in the country. These guys are studs. And if he can do that, he's got a shot at winning, but it's still going to be tough. Grant?
Absolutely, guys. So I think, with RBY and AD, AD's got to keep that motor high, get to his offense. I mean, he can score from other things other than his carry, but you got to continue to, keep the distance close. AD has that pressure that he'll just keep going and keep coming. And if he can keep that pace high, I think he has a really good shot at beating RBY. I mean, national champion type caliber match, but it's inside Carver for AD, and he's going to be hyped up.
Grant, do you think it's a 0-0 first period? Is that whose advantage is that?
If it's 0-0 first period, I think it's an advantage for AD. I think that if Roman comes out and really presses the gas pedal, I mean, that's it means that he's ready to go and he's in the match. So I would say 0-0 first period, it would be a benefit to AD. But if AD can go get a takedown right away, I'd take that too.
Okay.
Obviously, DeSanto's style is to go get after it. It's not really in his nature to try to wrestle a 0-0 tactical match. And Roman Bravo Young's top game is really underrated. It's how he won the Nationals in the finals in spite of the overtime. And so,
good one. Get Beatty.
In spite of the overtime match, I mean, he got riding time on there and everything else. We're going to take a quick break from reviewing the weight classes here real quick. We've got the executive director of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. I believe I'm saying that correctly. And maybe the finest head of hair in Iowa City.
It's better than yours.
Mine is solid. Respect your elders.
All right, Mark, it's better than yours.
Chad Beatty, welcome to the show, and thanks for having us out, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. Go Hawks.
Yeah, so tell everybody a little bit about what the Hawkeye Wrestling Club is about, what you guys do.
The Hawkeye Wrestling Club is all about raising money for our athletes to continue their World Olympic dreams. We don't want money to be a barrier to that dream, and we work really hard every single day to make sure that they can achieve those. So whether it's traveling abroad to competitions or staying here in the U.S. and bringing people to us or going to events, we want to make sure that financially they don't have that stress.
And these guys are all from Iowa. I'm a St. Louis guy. But if people that are watching that maybe aren't as familiar, talking about this, mostly your senior level postgraduate athletes, giving
That's
them an
right.
opportunity
Yeah.
to continue to represent the University of Iowa, but with that USA in the Nike singlet for USA, right?
That's right. Yeah. So it's all postgraduates, and it's making sure that once they graduate, again, they don't have to go into the workforce. Their job is to win World Olympic titles. And we try to provide that for those athletes.
What type of fundraisers are you guys doing to make that happen?
That's a good answer. Like today, we're doing this event here at Joe's, and we're selling raffle tickets, so people can get prizes. We're also soliciting people to join our Inner Circle, which is a monthly donation to the club, kind of sustaining our fluidity for the club. And then we're also doing a polar plunge tomorrow, which is going to be a great event, a lot of fun. People
Let's talk about the polar plunge. What is that exactly?
The polar plunge is when we have a bunch of jumpers and they get donations or pledges, and then we jump into frigid waters here in Iowa City, and it's a great time. We dress up in different costumes. We have a costume competition. We give prizes away for whoever raises the most amount of money. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement. And that happens tomorrow at Brown Deer Golf Course. So if you're around or in the area, you should come by and check it out. It starts at 3 p.m.
So I saw, first of all, it sounds like a 10K, except with much higher heart rates and lower body temperatures. Is that a fair way to say it?
It's pretty brutal. Luckily we have a sauna, so as soon as you jump out you jump in the water and it's cold, then you can jump out and go right into a sauna, warm up a little bit, hot tea, hot drinks.
My guy GT over here is nonplussed. I guess you guys talked him and Shane both into plunging tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, it's like torture, and we got to apply a little pressure to them, as our sales rep. So we got to toughen them up a little bit.
There you go. So one of the other things, I was lucky enough to get Clarissa Chun on the podcast.
Oh, she's incredible.
Yeah. So let's talk about Iowa being the first Power 5 school. We don't want to say the first school. We want to get Presbyterian and those other schools.
Absolutely,
They're
yeah.
due, absolutely. But a first Power 5 school. I saw today a picture of a ton of recruits, girl recruits, including one from St. Louis, Faith Cole. Shout out, Faith. Clarissa said the welcome has been overwhelming for her in an incredibly positive way. How do you guys feel about her as her coming into the family?
We love the hire. We love her energy, and we love the way that she does things and goes about her business every single day. It's really nice to have her around, and we're excited to see what she does. We're excited to see how she builds this team and how she manages the struggles of being a new head coach, and we're excited to see who she hires as an assistant, and looking forward to all of her recruits to be part of our wrestling family here in Iowa City. And she's got a high level of thinking. She's got high standards, and she wants our girls to be tough as hell and brutal to their opponents, and also humble and kind off the mat, and that's exactly what we do here at Iowa. So the philosophies match. She wants excellence, and so do we, and we're just excited. I mean, she's got a huge opportunity and a huge platform, and obviously huge support here in Iowa City, and I hope she comes out and hits it out of the park right away.
If people want to join the Inner Circle or support the Polar Plunge or do any of this stuff, what's the website? How do they do it?
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and then if you want to go to our website, HawkeyeWrestlingClub.com, It's a brand new site. It's really nice. Had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into it. And, literally anything you can find on our website. We have a new Hall of Fame, like looking back at our legends.
Nice.
A lot of tradition at the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and we kind of highlight it on our new website. So events are all the event pages are on our website, and anything you need to know about the club is there.
Great. And so we want to thank you. This is a vision I had for a while since we started doing the pod with the three of us, sort of a ESPN College Game Day thing. And they obviously go to the coolest places in the country for football. And if Iowa City's not the coolest place, it's definitely in the top echelon. I got friends across the country, but this was a great place for us to start.
Yeah, it's Wrestletown, USA. So we're happy to be here.
Yeah, we walked in today, and there's posters and I walked into my hotel, and the business cards are the schedule. The schedule on the back, on the front, everybody there with the Nike swoosh, and it says, "We're all back."
Yeah.
And we got to thank Grant for the donations of the prizes to the raffle that you guys are doing today as well.
That's right. Yeah, we got some backpacks and a vest along with all of our HWC stuff. And, today's going to be a lot of fun. The guys are going to scrap hard, and they're going to put it all on the line. They know that they understand what's happening today and how many people are watching this event, and it's really cool, and I'm excited for them. So.
Well, we're going to have some celebrity pickers, but I follow you on Twitter, so I saw 60-0 Hawkeyes all day. So rather than you just write 10 6s up there and it looked like the devil's sign, we're just going to keep it moving.
Hawks by a billion.
That's what it was.
Hawks by a billion. So
you're getting negative team points for Penn State. You're adding it all up.
If we can, let's do it. Right?
Well, I don't know. Why not?
Yeah.
We personally want to thank you guys for you having us out. We hope you'll have us back next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming, Grant. Thanks.
Yep.
David, appreciate you. Mark, stay classy.
Stay classy, San Diego. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Chad Beatty. We're going to go to 141. This is number 1 against number 2 in the country, Nick Lee, Jaden Ironman. Mark, start us off.
Well, this is a repeat of last year's Big Ten championship and last year's national tournament finals. I think for both guys, they're both going to have to come out and wrestle their style. So I think Ironman's going to really push the pace early, try to score, try to get him ride him out a little bit. I think he wants to be 3-0 Grant, David, at the end of the first period. I think that would be ideal for him. Because I don't think Nick Lee's going to go underneath of him, so there's another point that Nick will not get. Jaden will go down. He doesn't seem to have a problem getting out. I think that's kind of be the key. If he can score in the first period, I think Ironman has a real good shot at winning this.
Yeah, I think one of the keys to Jaden's wrestling is his ability to lock up cradles. Like, even if Nick takes a bad shot, or just a shot in general, and Jaden sits the corner, I think he has the ability to score in bunches. Nick Lee is, also the national champion, beat Jaden in the national finals last year, but you have the ability to change the outcome of a match with locking up a cradle, getting up by 6. I think you could see that, especially tonight, if both these guys are coming after each other, just opens themselves up for a little bit more of an opportunity for the other one to score.
I think we all agree Jaden wants to be in those scramble matches. Nick Lee would like to be in as fundamental of a match as possible, 7 minutes on their feet. The adjustment that Nick Lee made was to not pick down when he took his shots, to not hit his knees, and to do everything on the head on the inside. Jaden Ironman's coming out party was really probably his senior year at our event, where he beat Cade Brock. We knew how good he was in Missouri, but he hadn't gotten out of the first period in small schools in Missouri, but that's where the rest of the nation kind of figured out who he was. So next up is 149, and this is a really important match, guys. It's number 10 to 12 versus number 13 to 15, Mirren and Bartlett. Bartlett has a really good win this year over Parco, but he's got, he just lost to Van Brill in like 9 overtimes. Mirren's, a guy that has All-American before, lost in the blood round last year to Abbas, I believe. And we talk about this all the time. In dual meets, sometimes your not 3 best guys win the duel for you. And in tournaments, your 4 best guys probably win it for you. But this match is as important as 141, which is number 1 versus number 2, or 174, which is number 1 versus number 2. Murin wins a lot of matches on one takedown, wins a lot of matches late. I feel like this is a match where maybe that Carver Hawkeye atmosphere could make a big difference. How do you see it, GT?
Yeah, I think for Murin, I think getting going early, because he does always have a great third period. He always goes and gets another takedown or just tries to get a takedown right at the end. But Murin is tough to score on, and he's a gamer. He grinds out matches. He's wrestled in Carver a ton. Bo Bartlett is extremely talented. We all know that he's, a talented wrestler that can basically win at any time. But, he hasn't had the results that Murin has had over his career. And I think Murin, with his experience and his technique, I think he has a really good opportunity to score some points here tonight.
Marco.
Yeah, I'm going to say for Murin to win this match, he's got to keep the wrestling close. He's got to keep his hands on Bo, obviously, because he's really good from space, Bo is. And he's a stud. Coming out of high school, he was one of the top recruits in the country. So I think Max can fight it out, grind it out. That's kind of the way he wrestles. I think it's going to come down to the third period, and I think it's going to come down to one takedown in the third period. And that's kind of the key. This is one that Iowa really, really is going to need to win this duel tonight, though.
Yep. They got to get to 5 wins. So one of the interesting things about us doing a national podcast is we get to look at the things from a 50,000-foot view. But our next guest who's going to come on the air knows Iowa wrestling at all levels, from high school, college, boys and girls. We're going to hand him the mic from the Des Moines Register, Cody Goodwin.
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Cody G, happy to have you on, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Let's start with non-Iowa Penn State. Let's start with the girls sanctioning.
How awesome is that? How awesome is that?
I didn't realize Missouri had done anything in wrestling first before Iowa, so it was shocking that was actually the case. I saw the pictures of how many girls were participating, so it was a state tournament that was not sanctioned. Is that the situation?
Yeah, it was a state tournament hosted by the Iowa Wrestling Coaches and Officials Association, and there were 695 girls that signed up and registered to compete there. There wasn't any qualifier necessary,
sure.
So the IWCOA has done a tremendous job over the last 4 years just kind of building this thing. Because the unique thing about Iowa and why they're number 34 to sanction girls wrestling is that there's 2 high school governing bodies. There's the Iowa High School Athletic Association, which is like MSHA down in Missouri.
Okay.
And then there's the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, which they only do girls sports. That's what they govern. And so girls wrestling, if it was going to be a sport, it had to be through the girls union. And so they kind of wanted to see a more stronger, sustainable product before they decided to step in and say, hey, we're going to do this, right? And so, the combination of all these colleges that are adding women's wrestling programs like Iowa, like Wartburg, like Grandview, and then the numbers, there were over 1,000 girls that wrestled statewide this year, kind of forced their hand a little bit, right? So they were finally able to, they saw the numbers that they wanted to see and decided to say, hey, all right, we'll do girls wrestling starting next year. And that announcement came last weekend, and it's really exciting, obviously for the Iowa girl, and just really exciting for the girls and women's wrestling movement in general nationwide.
Well, we all love wrestling. It obviously had a huge impact on our lives, and we know wrestling and the positive impact is not gender specific. It can help anyone at any time. One more thing about the girls wrestling before we jump to tonight. Clarissa Chun, we had Beatty on, obviously super excited about the hire. As somebody who's reporting on that and watching the reactions, as obviously an intelligent observer but not part of the staff, what have your observations been on that whole situation?
Slam dunk, home run hire. That was my first thought. When they announced the program in September, your mind immediately goes to who are they going to hire as the head coach? And I don't think I was the only one that thought Clarissa Chun right out of the gate, right?
I did too.
Yeah.
I'm right, 18% of the time, and that was one of the 18%. So.
She was one of the first ones that came to mind, and, I know that they were really excited about her right out of the gate, and, slam dunk, home run hire, and she actually, here's how excited she is about the job. She started a month early, right? She's had a handful of recruits on campus. I know that she's got, I think, somewhere between 7 and 10 girls on campus tonight for the duel. So a lot of out of state, but there's also one in-state girl that I know is on an official visit this weekend. So really exciting stuff. And I know that, the Iowa, Tom and Terry Brands are amped to have her here, and she's really excited to finally be part of this family.
Yeah, she said that she's been embraced with open arms, and I think she's kind of walk softly, carry a big stick.
Yeah.
She's a hammer with a sweetheart of a personality.
And we got to talk to her at the Girls State Tournament last weekend.
Nice.
And she was actually kind of funny. She's still learning all the NCAA rules, what she can and can't do.
She's mentioned that on the pod.
Yeah, just like the recruiting rules, who she can talk to, how much she can talk to them, who she can bring on visits, who that sort of thing. And so it's kind of funny to be in the position that I am, because it's almost like I'm kind of going on this ride with her, because I'm asking her hey, who might you bring on visits? Who are you targeting? This, that, and the next. You're obviously going after heavy hitters, bringing the Blade sisters and a lot of these age-level superstars on campus. And she's like, I'm still learning. Who should I call for my assistant coach? I don't know yet. I don't know who I can call. I don't know who I can reach out.
Who am I even allowed to talk about?
Yes.
There's certain people you're not even allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So, okay, you and I talked off air. The duel tonight. We think it could go somewhere. This is a bold prediction: 8-2 Penn State or 8-2 Iowa. Somewhere in there, we feel like each team's going to get 2 matches. We're going to have you put your picks up, but before you put your picks up, just give us an idea of each team's got to get to 5. Tell me what you think Iowa's best chances to win 5 matches are.
I think the most crucial part for Iowa's the most crucial part of the duel. Let's assume we start at 125, right?
Yeah.
The most crucial stretch for Iowa is probably between 41 and 74, right? Because those 5 matches specifically, you've got Nick Lee, Jaden Ironman at 41. You guys talked about that. You were talking about McNamara and Bo Bartlett at 49, 2 guys that routinely wrestle close matches, right? And that's going to be a decision that's going to factor in. I think the 2 matches you can probably give to Iowa are 57 and 65 with Caleb Young and Alex Marinelli. And then that stretch of 5 ends with another NCAA Finals rematch, right, with Michael Kemmer and Carter Starachi. If Iowa can win all 5 of those, or 4 of those 5, I think that puts them in a really good position to win it close, or just, it gives them an opportunity to win it, right? Because then, again, if we're starting at 125, let's assume those are the 4 or 5 that Iowa wins. That, Aaron Brooks, I like Aaron Brooks at 84, but then Jacob Warner at 97, that dude's got a history of stepping up in big moments and winning big matches when Iowa needs him to do it. And then that takes you into 285, where Cassiope has a history of doing the same thing. So, but that stretch, 41 to 74, that's going to be a critical stretch for Iowa if they want to win this duel.
Yeah, we agree. We're going to let you go first on the board over here. There's a pen. You can just walk around. We're going to announce your picks as you're making them.
Oh, dude, people are going to hate me if I pick the wrong ones. We're in an Iowa City bar.
And thank you for coming on, brother. So let's see what you got for your picks here. Grant Turner doing his best Vanna White.
As you can see here, we have our board.
Vanna White, for all the 20-year-olds, is the hostess of Wheel of Fortune. So who you got, Goodwin? Let's go. 25, who you picking? It's got Penn State, okay. 33. It's got Penn State, 41. Iowa, 49. Hawks, 57. Hawks, 65. I know you're going Bull. 74. Hawks, 84. Penn State, 97. You got it 6-4 Iowa. So basically 18-12 without the bonus. And you got Marinelli, so you got it 19-12 Iowa. All right. If you're right, wings are on me. All right. So 157 is the match we talked about, where there's a couple of different options for Penn State, but it's a clear advantage for Iowa. Mark, take it away.
Yeah, I think this is a lot like the 149-pound match, David. I think this is one that Iowa needs to win. I think Young is a better wrestler, got more experience being a senior. So I think this is I guess if I had to pick Iowa getting a major somewhere, this is where they're going to want it. And so I think Caleb Young has to go out and push for that major. He's going to have to open up, and he's going to have to continue to put pressure on Penn State to try to get that bonus. I don't think Penn State can beat Iowa here. I would say this is one of Iowa's locks. If there is such a thing in wrestling, and we know there usually isn't, but I think this
heavy
is where,
favorite for sure.
Yeah, he's a heavy favorite. I think he really needs to win this match, and I think Brand's going to ask him to put up bonus points, and I don't think Brand's asked that too often from kids, so I think he's going to really push for it. What do you think, Grant?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mark. I think this is an opportunity for the Hawks to be able to put something as a statement in the middle of the duel. I think with Caleb being a journeyman and a guy that's been around the program, wrestled in Carver a ton, if he has the ability to go out and get a bonus, put up a major decision, I think I think Tom and Terry would ask him, hey man, go put some points on the board. This is an opportunity for us to secure a duel, kind of in the middle there, and especially if they're on a roll and they've already won at a couple of different weight classes and they're feeling it. I think this is an opportunity for Iowa to secure that lock, which in wrestling, of course, we never really talk about things in definites, but for those guys, I think it would be a solid win.
And I know there's a lot of guys from Penn State that are really quality wrestlers, and they've wrestled in these big events before, but we're getting a kid that's never been to Iowa City to wrestle. That Young's going to end up wrestling. He's going to be wrestling in front of 16,000 fans. Your knees start to shake a little bit, David, and if Caleb Young can go out there and just wrestle hard for 7 minutes, I think he might be able to put up a major on him.
I think we all know the word carved is a verb.
Yep.
But if you've followed wrestling, we know carved is a verb as well. And it happens to some of the greatest wrestlers. We saw it happen to Jordan Oliver one time. We've seen it happen to Mark Hall. We talked about this, Mark Hall's first college match. Just the energy is insane in that room. I'll agree with everything you guys are saying. I think Caleb Young needs to be up 4-1 with a minute of riding time at the end of the first period. He can do that. He's halfway to the major. And, then Penn State either has to wrestle him, which helps, or kind of stall, and then the stalling calls become more apparent. Okay, 165. Marinelli is coming off a loss to Karchla. And, again, Berge, Cale Sanderson, really long arms, pulled him off the South Dakota State coaching staff. GT, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I think for Alex, he's got the ability to get bonus here too. I mean, it's Alex Marinelli inside Carver. You got the ability to go and score a whole bunch of points, and when he puts it all together, I think it's a tough match for Berge. And Berge just coming back and having some success very early in his comeback story here. He's going to be ready to go too. I just think that this one has all of the details that it points all in the directions towards Iowa in this particular match, but I wouldn't be surprised if Berge puts up a heck of a fight.
I agree with you 100%, Grant. I think, you hate to say the best thing that could have happened is Alex getting beat during the regular season because it's never really happened before. I don't think he's ever lost a duel. So for him to go out there tonight, he's going to be angry. He's going to be a little pissed off from last week. So I think for him to go out there and wrestle this kind of a match, this is another chance that they're going to have an opportunity to get a bonus point. And I think they're going to ask, Marinelli to go out and do it. I think he has a really good chance of doing it. So, David, what do you think?
Well, Marinelli lost that match on that sucker drag, and it probably is one of the best things, right? Like when you're winning close matches. Our next guest and I were actually talking about a young man wrestling last night, and sometimes when you just rely on it coming down to one match or not, sometimes it bites you. And I think it'll help him reset, refocus. He's one of the leaders on the team. But this is a match Iowa has to have. If they could squeeze a bonus point out here, I think a lot of us could see this match going 15-15, 5-5. And if you could get to 16-15 or even win by 7, the criteria is really total match points at that point. So our next guest, I was tired of being surrounded by only Iowa people. So I brought in the vice president of the Missouri Border Brawl, the head coach of Greater Heights Wrestling Club, 18-time state champions in the state of Missouri, Jason Keck. Jason, welcome.
What's up, gentlemen? What's up, gentlemen?
What are you doing?
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Keck, you and me talk all the time about wrestling. You're going to make your picks, but what is maybe a match or two you're really looking forward to tonight?
Well, I certainly hope Ayala gets to wrestle tonight. Watching him push the pace against Hildebrant and see if he can get over that hump, or if savviness and the veteranness of Hildebrant can hold a young stallion like Ayala is off. I'm really excited about that match. Ironman Lee, of course. I mean, anytime you get a rematch of the national finals from the year before, you got to be pumped to see that. And then, seeing the difference between Cassiope with his frame last year compared to Cassiope to his frame this year, and then where Greg is, Kerfleet, if he is fully healthy now, and he's obviously wrestling. We've seen a couple of his performances thus far, and he seems dominant. So taking out Mason Parrish like he did, you got to be concerned if he's coming your way.
The win against Parrish was significant. Cassiope going overseas and getting a gold medal, that's part of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, helping those guys. I think that gave him a new confidence. Last year we were doing our picks and the fantasy, and Mark correctly said, hey, Gable's on level 1, Parrish is on level 2, and I didn't believe this, but he said Cassiope's on his own level 3, and he was. Nobody really came close to him, and obviously trying to climb the hill to Gable Stevenson is a steep one, but I mean, if he can beat Kerfleet and Kerfleet beat Paris, he's right in the mix to be, and you want to be in the bottom half of that bracket, at the national tournament. You don't want to be on the top half with Gable, right?
No, I agree. I think your analysis there is right on, and I remember you guys talking about that. It's one thing to be able to go out and do something in freestyle and Greco, and obviously he achieved the pinnacle of his age group, but nobody cares about that now. Now it's like, what can you do in folk style? We're in folk style season, and the hunters are coming, so I'm excited to watch it play out.
I like watching the Twitter posts, like when Tom and Terry and Morningstar Allers, the military posts, where they code everything that way, and they were talking about the Nittany Lions are coming and the Hawkeyes are ready for them. So I know you actually just drove up here this morning, did your day job, and then jumped up here.
Yeah, that's right.
You had 4 hours to contemplate your picks. Are you ready to make them?
I'm ready.
I got a question. Is this the first time you've been in for a duel at Iowa?
No, I've told this story several times. So my son's a senior in high school now. I brought him up here when he was like 8 or 9 years old. I've been a longtime friend and was a youth coach of Thomas Gilman's.
Okay.
And so Thomas got us some ringside seats, so to speak. And my son was an Oklahoma State fan at that time. And I asked him if he was ready to go to the duel, and he had orange and black on. They were competing against Oklahoma State, and I was like, "Son, I don't know if you're ready to go out there, and you might, if I were you might play a neutral color." And
like bright yellow or something.
He ended up following Dad's advice, and he was thankful for it at the end. He's like, "Yeah, that would have been bad."
Kale's one of the sweetest kids, but that would have toughened him up at a much quicker pace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let's get you over to the whiteboard and make your picks.
Vanna, you want to help out here?
While Coach Keck is over there making his picks, a reminder, we've got a fantasy contest going. You can go to fantasygrade.com, and then there's also the raffle. Make sure you get your tickets. Coach Keck is going to tell us who he's picking. 125, who you got?
I got Penn State.
Penn State? 133. Penn State. 41. Penn State. 149. Iowa. 157. 65. Okay, so right now you got it 10-9. 74.
74. I've got Penn State.
Penn State. 84.
Penn State.
97.
Iowa.
Heavyweight.
Penn State.
So you got the same. Are you?
No, we're a little off.
You got it. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. Penn State.
He's got it. Penn State 6-4. Goodwin's got it 6-4. Iowa.
No, he's got 6-4.
Yeah. 19-12. 19-12. One of you guys is buying the other guy's wings. So. All right, 174. Guys, remember the fantasygrade.com contest. is going on. $10 to enter, all sorts of great prizes. And the raffle for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. I don't know if the motorcycle is part of the raffle, but there's a motorcycle over there. There's all sorts of Hawkeye Wrestling Club gear, USA Wrestling gear, backpacks. 174. Besides Game 7, maybe some of the greatest words in sports are number 1 versus number 2. Starachi versus Kemmerer. I told you guys off the air I think Starachi might be the most improved national champion this year. At the same time, Kemmerer supposedly, according to a bad tweet, had retired and then came out of retirement, looked a little flat in one match and then has looked absolutely bonkers off the wall. Positive. The Kemmerer that we know. The recruiting story behind Kemmerer that Tom Brands tells, and the glue that he is in helping the Spencer Lees and the other, really the Pennsylvania pipeline. Iowa's got a ton of Pennsylvania kids on their team. This is a match worth the price of admission alone. GT, you're obviously a high-level coach. You know everything about the freestyle game. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, I'm just super excited for both these athletes to be like number 1 versus number 2. You know, there was some speculation that like Kemmerer was done for the year, which was completely not true. And basically Kemmerer comes out and he's looked like himself again. And a lot of the duels that he's had, a lot of the matches that he's had, he's been back up there scoring tons of points, not winning close matches, going out there and dominating the way that he always has. And of course, Carter Starachi is, national champion and has all the accolades that you could possibly want in a wrestler. So I think for Kemmerer it's going to be great. Taking on the reigning national champ, the guy that he had lost to previously. But with these two guys, it's going to be a close match. It's going to be full 7 minutes worth of wrestling. If not, we could get some extra wrestling in there, maybe get into overtime situation. So super excited for this one.
Yeah, I agree with Grant 100%. I think Kemmerer's looked good. I think Starachi, as David would say, is probably the most improved national champion from last year to this year. So, Kemmerer's going to have his work cut out for him. The one thing I've noticed about Michael Kemmerer in the last 5 matches that he's wrestled, he wrestles really relaxed. He's not worried about giving up a takedown if he does. He just continues to wrestle nonstop, and he's really improved his top game. He's turned almost everybody he's wrestled this year to their back, which I haven't seen in a while, so that could come into play tonight. If he can get that, step over in between the legs and do a little tilt, I think he could score an extra 2 points. So we'll see what happens.
If people like myself that are from St. Louis, which is a great town but not a wrestling city, if you're not convinced that this is a wrestling city, on the TVs right now is Michigan, Minnesota. So, these people are psyched about wrestling. 184, Aaron Brooks, the defending national champion, junior world champion, against Abe Assad. Assad's made huge strides this year. He actually lost to a very high-level but high school wrestler early in the year, beginning of the year, I think the Loris or Luther Open. And since then has bounced back. Miles Wilson was wrestling for a while. Nelson Brands hurt his UCL. They were talking about him going 84. Assad has really stepped up and he's stabilized the weight class. This is a gigantic one here to take a look at. I think Assad is obviously a huge underdog. He needs to wrestle well, I think, just to keep it to a decision. That's no disrespect to him. He's just wrestling probably one of the 5 or 6 best wrestlers in the country.
You're so right, David. He is wrestling one of the best kids in the country, obviously. And I guess what he's so good at, David, is reattacks. You go in on a shot, and he is not there anymore. And he's able to score and turn the corner. And Assad likes to shoot a lot. So he's worked on some things. I think this match is going to stay a decision, but Assad's going to have a lot of work to do to keep it there. And this is going to be a tough one for Iowa. I think there's a couple matches on each side that Iowa's favored heavily, and I think Penn State's favored. And this is one of the matches Penn State's really favored, so he's going to have to keep it close. Grant, what do you think?
Well, I definitely think that, the pressure is on basically Abe Assad to keep it close with Brooks. Brooks has got, as we watched in the duel I believe it was last week, Penn State, Michigan, where him and Amin wrestled, and Brooks stopped almost all of his shot attempts. Heavy hips, so he's going to have to convert some of those shots. If he's going to be taking tons of shots, but I think Brooks is what you guys have said. One of the top 5 guys in the country, pound for pound. But this is a great opportunity for Abe to step up in a big way. But yeah, this one should be fireworks. If Iowa can keep it to a decision, I think that would be a huge win for them in the team scoring tonight. But yeah, I think Brooks is he's got to be able to shell out for Penn State.
And obviously each team thinks, our goal is to win all 10 matches, get 10 pins. But realistically, like if Abe Assad loses 5-3, that's a huge confidence builder for him.
Without a doubt.
That's something for him to build on. So 197. So this might be the most chaotic weight class all year. This last year, Mark, you and I correctly predicted that 5 of the All-Americans would be guys ranked outside of the top 8 in the preseason. I think it might have actually been 6. This year, it was sort of AJ and the Ferraris. He was out front, winning matches, not really having close matches. Only really one top 8 win, but looking dominant, having a lot of fun doing it, getting people to flex all over the country. And everybody else was beating each other. Like Elam loses to Pence, Eric Schultz is losing, Norfleet loses, Brucky loses, all of these sort of things. And so we get down to, now this is a match where in the current rankings we've got Max Dean is in the composite rankings at number 2, and Jacob Warner's at number 3. We're going to finish up 197. We just had Grant Turner's sidekick.
Wait a second. We can't go Grant Turner's sidekick.
His boss.
Nor would we say that either.
I thought Grant was the boss.
He is the boss.
His partner in Nike, Shane Goodell. Take the mic, Shane, because you just strolled in here, and this is how the crowd can hear you.
What's up, gang? How you doing?
So Shane, I met you 4 or 5 years ago.
Correct.
And you cover several sports. What exactly is your job at Nike?
Sports marketing director globally we got wrestling, volleyball, field hockey, fencing, weightlifting, boxing, cheer, field hockey. I think that covers off on most of it.
Soccer?
Yeah, so nope.
Different person for soccer.
Yeah. The big silo sports are covered in-house at corporate.
So one of the things that I think Nike's done an amazing job of changing the perception of them in the wrestling world. I grew up and I won't name the other companies, but primarily in other name brands.
Yeah.
And how have you guys done such a good job of changing that?
Relationships, right? It's about relationships, having good product, having people like Grant, that know the sport. I mean, you have to have people embedded in the sport. And fortunately, we've got some good ones, and building relationships, living up to what you say you're going to do. Just being good, being nice. I mean, it's not, it's just, I don't know. It's not hard, right? I don't know.
What's your favorite part of the job that you got right now?
Relationship building, meeting new people, and just building relationships. It's all about relationships. That's what I love. I knew nothing about wrestling. I feel I'm kind of ingrained in the sport a little bit now, and that's just by, going places, meeting people, talking to them, like Mirikitani, right? I mean, I don't know his background until I met him and learned more. I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. You just don't know these things until you meet people and start talking to them. So I can chat. I'm a chatty Cathy, and that's how it works for me.
You and I are good at taking the oxygen out of the room, that's for sure.
I've been told that, especially at home. But yes, I've been told that.
So tonight there's 2 Nike schools wrestling each other. Obviously, you love to see the Nike schools do so well. Right. Iowa won nationals last year. Yep. The Nike National Championship gear comes out. I'm interested in that. Like, how quickly are you guys putting designs together, or do you already have them sort of in the chute ready to go? How does that? Walk us, through that.
That's a relationship we have with, corporate. and it's ready to go. I mean, it's geared up. It's the same for football, the same for basketball, all the big sports, any NC2A championship. You know, they're loaded, ready to go.
So the minute the team clinches, it's on the website, ready to go.
It won't be long. It won't be long.
So tell us what it's like to work with GT. We work with him every week.
GT's good. He's fantastic. Hard worker, good kid, knows the sport. He's going to take on a little bit more sport coming up here soon. So we're going to see how well he does outside the wrestling world. Get him off the mat a little. But Grant's, I can't even the amount of influence he's had for us and the things that we've been able to accomplish is unbelievable. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are, I don't think, necessarily without him.
We had a celebratory 48-ounce mule last night on GT's promotion. We want to thank you for that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I know, obviously, you need to be Switzerland, but we have you on here, and we want to get your picks for the meet.
All right. I'll go. Am I just going down?
Yeah. 25, you got Penn State.
Yeah.
33.
Same.
41.
I'm going to go Iowa.
All right.
Yeah.
49.
Max Muir.
Iowa.
Okay.
57.
Iowa.
65.
Iowa.
74. That's 1 versus 2. Starachi Kemba.
I like Chem Dog, man. Yeah, I've known that kid a long time, so I'm going Iowa.
All right. 84.
Yep. Goes Penn State.
97.
Penn State.
Heavyweight.
Penn State.
So you got it 15-15.
Well, no.
Any majors?
I think. Is this?
It's on.
Yeah, it's on. Shit. I'm going to go. I think Brooks may get some major points there.
Okay.
So anybody else? Does Marinelli get one?
I think maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it right there. That's
so you got it 16-15 Penn State.
I do.
So when this is all tonight, we'll take a picture of this before we go. The winner gets free wings on whoever else is there.
No, we don't take a picture. This isn't shown to anybody. Nobody sees. Well, then, yes, Marinelli gets in at 16-16.
Okay. 65, not 74.
Then it's 16-16.
16-16. Yep. Comes down to total match points. And then Iowa wins on, okay. All right. Shane, you're the man.
In Iowa.
I want to thank you for everything you do for Border Brawl.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic.
Thanks.
No.
And we got to keep Grant, though, right?
Yeah, you can keep
every
Grant.
Thursday morning.
Absolutely.
All right.
He may have to do it.
You heard that, Grant. You don't get out of it.
He may have to do it from Thailand or wherever I send him. But
Zoom is Zoom. Zoom is Zoom.
Zoom works.
Thank you so much. All right. So
fellas.
we were talking about 197, and I'm going to turn it. We got number 2 against number 3. Marco, how do you see the match?
Well, Warner's been known to come up with a big match at Iowa every once in a while, more often than less. So he's going to have to wrestle probably his best match of the year to beat Dean. Dean is, if you don't remember, he was a finalist 2 years ago. 3 years ago.
At 84.
3 years ago at 184. So he's moved up to 197, but he looks like a 197-pounder. He did get beat last weekend to Michigan State. So I feel there's a good shot. This is going to be a close match, David. This is going to be decided in the last 30 seconds of the match.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this one has a lot of potential for one of the peak matches of the night, and that's really saying something with 2 returning finalists at 2 different weight classes being able to have their rematches inside Carver. But I think for what Mark's basically describing is for Jacob to come up with a big match inside Carver for himself and for the Hawks, especially if they gave up bonus points at 84 and he comes out there and upsets number 2. I think that'd be a great story for Iowa for sure.
And Warner wears those sweet Nike Rio highlighter yellow throwbacks with the pink accent. So gotta love those shoes.
I think he still has like 17 pairs of them. They just keep multiplying.
If there's an 8.5 floating around, hit your boy up.
Oh, I'm sure we could figure it out.
All right. What's crazy is that match in most duels would be the highlight match, would be the main event. And 285 here. Main event. 2 guys, age group world champion. Kirk Fleet just beat Paris. Cassiope, world champion this summer. gets caught in a crazy role at the beginning of the year with Princeton, has looked really good since. I think would be fascinating, and a lot of these guys have the picks fairly close. It could be 5-4, 15-12, one way or another, going into this match. Mark calls everybody their first name, so can Big Tone get it done at heavyweight for Iowa, Mark?
He can get it done. I mean, they wrestled last year at the Big Tens for 3rd and 4th, and Big Tone won 9-0. Kirkfleet, I don't think was 100%. I think he is now, but I think Tony's kind of a different frame. It's going to be interesting. Tony's going to have to wrestle really smart. He cannot give up that snatch single that Kirkfleet's obviously really good at because he took down Paris twice with it, maybe 3 times. So that's going to be a big part of this duel. I still think Tony can ride him when he gets on top. He's going to have to wear on him a little bit, and it's going to come down to the 3rd period who has the gas left, and I think it should be good.
Possible overtime match?
No.
Okay.
Well, I think we've talked quite a bit, throughout the podcast and everything else that we got going on, that how much Tony has been able to change his body and look, kind of like transformed a little bit with his physique. But Kirkfleet was also a little bit smaller heavyweight, and he's also gotten a lot bigger.
Yep.
So I think they're kind of meeting right at their proper weights, probably around like a 240, 250-ish look, maybe even into the 230s. You never know, depending upon how their diet is that week. But these guys are wrestling extremely well.
Really well.
Greg being able to beat Mason Paris, that's a big win for him. And I think that's one of those things that he's got a lot of confidence rolling right now. So I think that's why a lot of the guys have already kind of picked Greg to win. But Tony's salty. You can't put anything against that guy.
I just want to see this duel come down 15-15. People trying to sort out the criteria. So, reminder, guys, get your raffle tickets, support the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. Go to fantasygrade.com, play for some awesome prizes there. It's time for the picks. We're going to do youth before experience, so GT's going to go first. Who you got at 125, GT?
I'm going to take Hildebrant with a decision. I'm going to say it's going to be 4-3.
He's calling his shots, calling his scores. All right, 133.
I think AD keeps him on the brink all the way to the edge, but I think RBY beats him. But once again, I think AD keeps it a lot closer than a lot of the people think that he would. I just think that that's going to be a great match.
Number 1 versus number 2, 41. Who you got?
I'm going to take Jaden. I love Nick Lee. I may change my story when it comes to the NCAA tournament or even the Big Tens. But I think Jaden Ironman's going to be. I think he's going to get a cradle in this match somehow, either for a takedown or some extra points there. At 49, I'm taking Max. I think he's wrestling extremely well right now. I think he's feeling himself. So I think Young wins. I think Alex wins. And I think with Alex, I think we get some bonus out of him. At 74, I'm going to take Starachi. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring match. I think both of these guys are going to come after each other. I'm going to take Brooksy at 84. I'm going to take Werner at 97, and I'm taking Cassiope.
You got it 19-12.
Yep, and I got 6-4 with Iowa having bonus, so I have Iowa winning the duel inside Carver.
All right, I'm going to go next. I don't think I'm going to be very popular. I'm going to go Hildebrand at 25. That's Mark's column.
Nope, sorry.
That's okay. RBY 33. I'm going to go for sure with the one Missouri kid in this event, so I'm going Ironman at 41. I'm the same as everybody at 49, 57, Iowa. And then I think Marinelli, but I think by decision. I think Bergey's really salty. He'll figure out a way to keep it close. And I will just, rather than get beat up here too bad, I got Penn State running the board the last 4. So I got it 18-12. But if any of these matches swing, it's 15-15. And everybody has it 6-4 or 4-6. No one. Shane's got it 5-5, but nobody's got it 7-3 either way. So now the wise guru, the guru of the event, Mark Ostrander, who you got?
Well, the reason I think Penn State is favored on every one at 125 is because there's rumors that Drake may not wrestle in this, so it'd be Ibarra. And I think if Ibarra does wrestle, I think Penn State wins. I think if Drake wrestles, I'm going to give the victory to Drake. So we'll go with what I think right now is I think Drake's probably going to sit this meet. So I'd go Penn State at 125. I'm going to pick DeSanto to upset RBY. I think it's a good call. I think it's his turn. He's at home. This is one of his last big meets. I think he's ready to go. I think Jaden Ironman puts Ironman on his back. I think he catches him in a cradle. So I'm going to go there. Max Murin, it's your turn. Come home for the Iowa Hawkeyes. 157, Caleb Young with a major decision. I don't see that being a problem. The Bull, as angry as he's going to be when he comes out there, I'm going to go another major decision for Iowa at 174.
5 in a row. 174.
Oh, Kemmer all day long. It will not be. It will be one of the Big Ten finals where he beat him like 7-3. It's going to be something like that. 184. I'm sorry, Iowa, but Brooks is awfully good, and I got to be honest there. 197, Warner comes up with the biggest win of his homestands, and at 285, oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to probably have to go.
We're going Hawkeyes, baby! Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. He's Mark. He's Grant. I'm David. We are weighing in. USA Wrestling Match Day. Thank you, USA Wrestling. Thank you, Nike. Thank you, Hawkeye Wrestling Club. Thank you, Joe's Place. Enjoy the meet tonight, everybody. Drive safe.